Hey, it's Kendra and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I did this out of focus vector drawing on my iPad using Procreate. I've already done a couple of these tutorials before, so if you want more of an in-depth tutorial on just these illustrations in general, definitely go back to those. But also this video is really exciting because it is a subtle way of me announcing that I did get engaged last month. So I thought this would be a really fun photo to show you guys how I do out of focus vector illustration. So let's get right into it. So I'm starting out just doing the highlights and general colors of the base layer. So you'll notice that this illustration is a lot messier than other ones because we are going to be blurring this since it's out of focus. You don't have to be super exact, which is really nice. You just want to get the general colors that the picture has. So this is really great for matching up colors, and it honestly just kind of ends up looking like one of those paint by numbers paintings you'll see definitely later on. But yeah, just get the general color and don't worry too much about the details and the lines because it'll all look fine in the end. And for my face, I did kind of have to guess sometimes where my lips would be since we were in the direct sunlight and it's winter and I'm pretty pale. So if you have to guess, that's totally fine. I mean, as long as you get the general colors, it'll look fine. Also, a quick note, I did finish this drawing before I filmed, just because I knew it would take forever. So if you see me erasing stuff and redoing it, that is why. And I just wanted to show you guys how I did it. So I did go back and erase a couple of times and redo. Like you could see Alex's face already had some drawing on it. So this is me just erasing it and showing you guys how I did it. Alex's face was a really great example of just getting down the highlights and putting down the lowlights as well. You can see like his cheekbone, just put the highlights down and then the shadow on his face. I thought that was a really great example there. And then also for his arm, since it's kind of like midway between what's in focus and what's completely out of focus, I did this on a completely separate layer as like our faces and my hair and all that because I wanted it to be different blurred levels. And you'll see later on when I actually go through and blur it, you'll see why I did this. And then now we're moving on to the last final layer, which is in focus. So this is a layer that you're going to want to illustrate really nicely and follow the lines exactly. So you want it to look like it's really crisp and in focus. And also just a side note on like vector drawings and iPad drawings and like tracing photos, I have found that this has really helped my drawing and just generally steady hand with any other drawings that I'm like not tracing. And I think it's a really fun way to also learn how colors are in real life. A lot of the times, you know, like you think a face is just like one solid color, but actually there's so many different shadows. So doing this like tracing is a really great way just to practice drawing, especially if you don't have a whole lot of time to not just, you know, draw something from scratch. I find this is really fun to do while I'm watching a show or a movie because it's just kind of really relaxing and pretty simple and you're just tracing over. Yeah. And doing my nail polish and my ring was actually a really great way to trust the process. There's so many different colors, especially with shinier objects, so it was really fun to find all the highlights and the lowlights and how the colors changed. So just be careful if you have something like this. Just, you know, make sure you're matching as much as you can, and of course to match colors in Procreate, you've seen how I do it. You just hold your finger down to the color and it will color match for you. So it is tedious because there's so much color matching that goes into it, but in the end it really pays off, and the more detailed you are, the more real it looks, and yeah, you can just learn more about how these lowlights and highlights interact. Alright, and so here is the finished product for the uppermost layer, the most in focus layer. And also if you need to combine layers, you can just squeeze them together like I just did, which is really helpful when we go to blur. So to blur it, just select the layer and then go up to adjustments and select Gaussian blur and then hit layer, and then you just slide your pencil to the right for more blurriness, to the left is less blurry. So just play around with this. Of course the most out of focus is going to be the most blurriest, the most blurry, and then the mid layer, the one that I used for Alex's arm, is going to be a little bit less blurry than that. So just play around with it. I didn't want to blur it so much that it didn't actually look like an illustration, so I still wanted to keep a little bit of you know, in focus, more so maybe than the photo was, just so you can tell that it is in fact an illustration and not just photo. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and if you try this out, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.